in relation to um, Donald Trump. So as far as the black vote, so I would ask, this time around, he actually got more black vote than he did the first time, much
Like,
more in black and Latino vote this time around. So what I would say to that, and I don't discount anybody's perspective, I think that it's all good. I think that this time around, there were things that I think black people and Latino voted for that weren't specific to them per se. It were more American or larger macro issues that they looked at. This is my opinion. I don't know for sure. So I don't think he offered something specifically for black people that people voted for per se, but I think people looked at American things that they felt like, okay, this aligns with things that I agree or disagree with. Whether we're talking about immigration or whether we're talking about you know maybe it might have been the trans issues. Maybe it might have been those things. It could have been those things, I think. But people voted more for him this time around than they did first time, because Hillary Clinton got a lot of black vote. I mean, he didn't destroy her in the campaign. It was still somewhat of a close campaign. So I don't know if it's that he doesn't need black people anymore. I wouldn't go that far, because it doesn't appear that,
No, it wasn't a
from
close
what I see
campaign,
it.
sir. Hillary won the popular vote. He just won where it mattered. He won the electoral, but Hillary won the
Well,
popular vote.
she didn't win the popular vote by a lot, is what I'm saying. I feel you, but it wasn't like a blowout, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I feel you. And like, I voted for Hillary Clinton first time. So I didn't really know a lot about Donald Trump the first time, and I didn't take him seriously, quite honestly. So I felt like it was Hillary's time after not being able to win and become the front runner in 2008. And Barack had his time. So I'm like, cool, now it's Hillary's time. That was my mindset in 2016. Um, but
Mhm.
to go back to Savvy's point, let me go back to Kamala for a minute. Now, I don't necessarily agree, like, you can have a black woman who is educated, has all this experience, and here comes a mediocre white guy who gets the job. I think what happened is that Kamala, and you might hate me for this, but Kamala was arguably one of the worst candidates to run for president I've ever seen in my lifetime. Um, it's not personal
how
against
you
her.
really feel?
Eeh.
Well, I'm just saying it's not
Mm.
personal against her. I think as a person, as a politician, she was pretty standard. She wasn't horrible. She wasn't overly likable. She was cool as a person, right? I think she's light. I think she's educated. I think she has experience. I'm not going to discard that. But I think when you're campaigning, you have to campaign and bring forth, like, what are the strong things that you have in place, or what are the things you want to bring forth. And I think I think she had an opportunity to be president, and we can go ahead, B.
Do you think that the fact that she became the candidate so late into the race would have played a part in that? Because she wasn't the original.
That's a good.
You see what I'm
Point.
saying?
Yeah.
So she
That
wasn't
that's a
the
great
original.
question.
He was
But go ahead.
sabotaged.
I think she would.
She
I
didn't
think
have
she would have
enough time.
lost regardless.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, G.
No, sorry. No, I was just listening. No, I agree with B. That was my exact thought. Was like she was put into that that whole situation just like so quickly, and it was just like okay, just a couple of months
Yeah,
to
because it was
run for
it was really
president.
June. She got in there
That
in
was
June,
that was
and I have June to November to kind of
yeah.
present myself as the front
Mhm.
runner when our party has we were going to back one person. Whatever reason we
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. I am now the replacement. So
Right.
I'm saying because
She
your
didn't have
feelings
enough
about her
time to
being
do
like the
anything.
worst candidate. Do you think that if she would have been the person from the jump that they said, hey, we're gonna back Kamala, and she had an ample time to present a campaign and build up a ground base and all that things that's needed to become president, do you think that you may have thought different of her at that point if it was presented in if she had enough time to prepare?
Mhm.
That's a very, very fair question. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people have presented that. Like, I think honestly, based on what I saw, if she presented the same things, I think she still would have lost, in my opinion. But I think that her coming in late, that's the Democrats' fault, because Joe Biden was
Yeah,
obviously not. See now, a lot of the
Democrats
things we
screwed
were
her.
talking about. Oh, I'm
Hmm?
sorry. Say
The
again, Savvy.
Democrats screwed her. And I'm going to include Joe
Well,
Biden
they
and Barack
screw.
Obama in there. They screwed her.
Well, I can definitely agree with that. I think the problem is that see now a lot of this information is coming out. There's books coming out. Former chief of staff just wrote a book talking about they never believed in her. The problem is, in my opinion, is that the Democrats one should have admitted Joe Biden was not there cognitively. They should have admitted that earlier. And then from what I understand from this book, is that the reason why Barack and Michelle waited long, they wanted to do a primary. So Kamala should have been voted in a Democratic primary or someone else, and then that would have been better. But they waited and let Joe Biden go up there, and he showed issues from what I understand far back as 2023 or earlier than that mentally. So and it's Joe Biden's fault too because it was his ego, and he wanted to run and be the man so bad, and then he let Kamala crash out. So I think that Kamala, it's just my opinion. Kamala is not a bad person. I don't think she was fit to run the country. I don't think she was the right candidate because they didn't have a bet. I don't know if they had a better choice per se at the time, but I think based on what she presented, I don't think she was fit to be president for a couple of reasons. And the only reason why I say it is what she presented. So the three major things, in my opinion, that are most important right now are as far as major issues: immigration, trade imbalance, and our deficit, government spending. Those are three hard issues to touch on, right? So, in order to govern, you can't always be liked, is the thing. So, the thing I had to say about Donald Trump is that, he has many imperfections, but when you lead, you're not always going to be liked. It's very impossible to lead effectively and everybody like you. Like, if you want everybody to like you, you're probably not going to lead very well. So, I think, to your point, Savvy, I think Kamala had an opportunity. I think if I were her, I would have went balls to the wall and addressed everything head up. And if you win, you win. You lose, you lose. But what I think she did is she avoided the biggest issues and pretended like you didn't see them and had you focus on hating Donald Trump. So she didn't effectively talk about a plan for immigration. All she talked about was a bill that failed. Um, and then what Trump did is he comes in and he does an executive order. Now, like it or not like it, illegal immigration has decreased dramatically, right? So he comes in and does that. Now, now again, and I understand there's an argument there. I'm not mad, but and I won't filibuster too long. The only thing I'm gonna say is that you have that. Then you have the other two main issues that we're talking about now: trade imbalance and our deficit as far as government spending. Kamala didn't come in and talk about any of that. Her the thing that she presented was, we're going to increase the taxes on corporations. We're going to build 3 million new homes, and we're going to give $50,000 grants to small businesses. Meanwhile, not telling you where the money's going to come from, where our deficit is $36 trillion, right? That's our deficit. And then our actual budget deficit, what we take in versus what we spend out, is $1.8 trillion. So there was no way to pay for all that stuff. And so she focused on that, abortion and other things, to kind of stoke the emotion. But these weren't, in my opinion, these were not major issues. You know what I'm saying? So the three major issues I mentioned, we can agree or disagree how to deal with them, but you can't pretend they're not there. So I think that's what made her not the right candidate. Whereas Trump, when he ran, he talked about immigration, the tariffs he's talking about now. He'd been talking about that. He talked about it in his campaign. In fact, if you go back, there's a clip of him on Oprah Winfrey in 1988. He was
And
talking
that's
about
about what he talked
trade with
about it
China.
because he ain't